All right, I accidentally stopped the camera there. Sorry about that. So now we have a second video showing us back at the top main screen here. So that was how COM setup works. Now if we go down one into the read setup, this is where you set your addresses up and the number of words to read. So you can see right now we're reading a holding register address of 1901, slave address 11. So while I'm on holding register, first of all, the arrow keys do the usual thing, moving the pointer around. So while I'm on the register type, I can hit the enter key and I can go through and pick one of the 4 register types. And you can see the little asterisk is on holding word. If I go to output coil, you can see now that the register type has changed to output coil, and also notice the leading character of the data address has changed to the proper one. So, 4 is a holding register, 3 is an input word, 1 is a discrete input, and 0 is an output coil. But you all knew that. So I'm going to go back to holding word. Okay, so now I go down to the holding word, and here's where I can change the addresses. You can see it's set at 1901 and number of words to read is 1. So if I hit enter here, and you can see the cursors there, so I can change it with my up and down arrows, and then I can go left, right to get to a different decimal position, not decimal, it's the word I'm looking for, different position in the number, and I can change them and hit enter, and then I can go down and I can also change the number of words if I wish. And I have this thing capped, I think, at 10 words. So if I try to go over to, you can see it's at 10, and if I try to change that, it only goes between 0 and 1, but 13 is still greater than 10. If I hit enter, this should change it to 10. And maybe it does it. There it is. When I leave the word, it changed it to 10. So now I've set my register address and number of words, and I return. So now you can see it's going to read that new address, slave address 11. Oops. Back to return. So now it's all ready to execute the query. Now I don't want to execute that query. So what I'm going to do is I'm just down and dirty. I'm going to reset power. This is my little USB ASP programming device, it's called. And the way I have it wired up right now is if I pull it out and then put it back in, it reboots. It reboots my microcontroller, by the way. That's the microcontroller. So here we are, we're back at the main screen, enter to continue. So now you can see it's back to what it was, 1901, slave address 11, a length of 1 word. So I'm going to go to execute query. I hit enter, and I don't know if you saw a flash there reading, but now it says value read 14131 and status is OK. In other words, it's successfully read. There was no timeout, the CRC bits checked OK. So I can reboot this again, and we can do something like my read setup. I'm going to change the slave address to one that doesn't exist. So I'll go down. I hope you can see this okay. The lighting is sketchy here. So I'm going to change my slave address to 10. And then I go back and I do return and I go to execute query. So now you can see it's looking for slave address 10. This should be a timeout, and it should be about 5 seconds. So reading, and why is it not giving me the timeout? Another bug. Well, this was working. Guess you'll have to trust me on that. But it was working, so no timeout for you. Okay. So now I just want to show something else to you. Over here on the computer, I'm not going to be able to see this very well. I have some things hard coded because if you look at this make Modbus line, this is the command that goes out to read the meters, and you'll see the number 2 for the number of bytes there on a function 3 call. This thing does not take variables, even though you see variables on 4, 1, and 2. It doesn't work. So I've been doing everything by hand here. It turns out that the IDE, my Bascom AVR IDE with this problem is intractable, but I can get low level on the microcontroller and write some registers, so I can dynamically change some things that the Bascom IDE is not letting me change. So, but for the present time, I'm just going to hard code some things just to demonstrate some stuff for you. So anyway, so what I do is I'm going to go up to the beginning of my program here, and then down at this one spot here, I'm going to tell it I want to read 5 words instead of 1. So I just taped num words to 5 there, and then I go back to those make Modbus statements, and where you see 2, I'm going to change that to 10. Okay, so now I should be able to read 5 words. I hit F7 to compile it. Save it, yes. So now it's compiling. And then when that's done, I flip over to my burner program, and what this does is it takes the opcode hex file, which is the object file of the compiler, and it will burn this into the processor using this thing. You can't see the lights are blinking. So it just flashed it, and now it's comparing it, looking to see everything is good, and it says it verified, everything is good. So we come back to this thing now. So now when I do enter, it should show me length of 5 there, and when I execute my query, it's reading and it says OK. And so for your register read there, it says 1901, and there's the value. If I hit my up arrow, now it goes to 1902, and notice the value changed. There's the 3rd register, the 4th register, the 5th register is 0, and it only read 5, so if I hit the up arrow, it goes back to the 1st. It just wraps around. So there are the 5 registers read. The phone just got a little jerky. I don't know if you saw that, but anyways, so that's pretty much a demo of it. I don't have too much more to do with this. One thing I would like to do is to have it go between hex binary and floating point. That's a tall order. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. So there you go.